Hi, this is Rachel from Ray K Books, and today I'm interviewing Rachel Vincent. Hello, Rachel.
Hey,
How is it going today?
good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So today we're just promoting you, no certain book, and I have some Twitter questions here. For those of you watching, if you would like to ask Rachel a question, go on Twitter and tweet with the hashtag RachelLiveChat, and I will answer, or she'll answer them. Okay. So the first Twitter question is from Amy, and she said or asks, out of all your books in the Soul Screamer series, which one is your favorite?
Um, Probably If I Die, the fifth one, the one where, I don't know, are we doing spoilers?
Yeah, no spoilers.
No
Not this
spoilers?
time.
Okay. If I Die was really tough to write, and it's the only one of the Soul Screamers books that went through 2 rounds of revisions. I got a round from my editor, and then I got a round from the head of Harlequin Teen, Natasha. And at the time, I was like, this is crazy. I don't know what to do. And I was just convinced that I had completely ruined the book, that I had just gone overboard and I'd made it really, really bad. And then the reviews started coming in and everybody seemed to really like it. And then everybody started telling me it was their favorite book. So then I started thinking I did something right. So
How many drafts do you usually go through?
before I turn it in,
Yeah.
I usually turn in a third draft. So I'll do a first draft, and a lot of times first drafts have entire scenes that are just dialogue. And then I'll do a second draft, and if I have time, I send that draft chapter by chapter to my critique partner. And then the third draft I do with her comments, and those second and third drafts are usually really fast, like within a week. And then I turn in the third draft, and then I get revisions, and then line edits and copy edits and proofreading and all that. So generally sick of it by the time it comes out.
And then Amy asks, did you know you wanted to be an author when you were younger?
I knew I wanted to write. When I was little, I didn't really know that author was a thing. Books just kind of appeared in front of me. And then by the time I got old enough to know that you could be an author, it seemed really far-fetched and out of reach. So I thought I wanted to be an editor. I don't know why I thought that that would be easier. That's probably harder. I don't know. And you'd have to, well, at the time you had to live in New York. You don't have to anymore. But I didn't really think about doing this for a living until I was in my, I guess, mid-20s. And then it occurred to me it occurred to me. My husband dared me to finish a book because I had already always said that I was going to. And then I just thought, well, we'll try to get it published, and it worked out. So here I am.
And then BTR featuring Pixie asks, what do you usually do? What do you usually do when you get a writer's block? That was not my punctuation. That was it, users.
I can't see them. I'm not even really sure what writer's block means. I've gotten plotter's block, like where I don't know what should happen next, but I rarely don't know what to actually write, because by the time I get ready to write a book, it's usually already been plotted. Sometimes I'll paint myself into a corner and not know what to do, and there's no easy way out of that. It's a lot of brainstorming, talking to writer friends, talking to my husband, bouncing ideas off of people, putting away the ideas that are too easy or too simple or too convoluted. It's a lot of trial and error. And that's where the work comes in, So dig in.
And then Sassy Cats Reviews asks, any YA shifter book? I know I've asked this before and distracted you from your work on this idea.
That's true. I think that she's the one who asked me on Facebook about that a while back. The ideas are still there. I don't currently have time. I've got about 5 books in various stages right now. Maybe someday. I don't know. The thing is that the more time that passes between the end of the last Shifters book came out in 2010. That's already been 4 years ago. And the more time that passes, the smaller the audience grows. So, I mean, maybe someday.
And then Manny asks, what advice can you give to aspiring writers?
I have nothing brilliant to offer. I have all the usual stuff. Write often, even if it sucks. Read a lot. Learn from what you're writing and learn from what you're reading. I've often found that it's easier for me to develop my craft by critiquing than by writing, because we see mistakes in other people's stuff easier than we see it in our own. Learn to take critique and learn what critique not to take, because they're not all you can never agree 100% with any critique or with any edit. So you have to learn to decide what works for you and for the book, even if it is hard to take at first. But the more you read and the more you write, the better your skills are going to get. Also, punctuation and grammar. They really matter.
Okay, punctuation and grammar. Okay, so Amy asks, which book was the easiest to write?
Honestly, the second Soul Screamers book, My Soul to Save, was the easiest to write. I wrote it in 17 days.
Wow.
Yeah, but critically, it is it's the least well received. So I've decided to spend more than 17 days on a book. That's what I've learned. I spent more than that. I wrote the rough draft in 17 days, but obviously it went through all the edits and things like that. So,
how long does it take you to normally write a book?
Depends on the genre and whether it's a sequel or the first in a series. Generally for adult books, I write about 3,000 words a day, edging into 4,000, and for YA, I can sometimes write 5,000 words a day. It depends. The first books in a series are usually harder because I don't know the characters in the world yet, but when I get to the sequels, they tend to go a lot faster because I already know what I'm doing and who the characters are. So, yeah, anywhere a month to 2 months for a rough draft. And
then Krista asks, what inspires you to write for the paranormal genre?
Real life inspires me because real life is so boring. My grandfather asked me once why I never write about things that are real, like real life, things that could actually happen. And the reason for that is because I live what can actually happen. I actually have 2 wonderful kids. I have a wonderful husband. I have a boring life where I get up and make coffee and drive kids to school and to lessons and things. And when I read and when I write, I tend to want to read and write about things that have not happened to me. Even if it's realistic fiction, I want to read the stories that are extraordinary, you know, where big things happen, not necessarily explosions, but big trauma or, you know, something that is outside of what I experience day to day.
And those are all the Twitter questions for now. Again, to the viewers, if you want to ask a question, use the hashtag #RachelLiveChat. So my question is, if you had to choose, which writer would you consider a mentor?
Well, I actually had a mentor when I got started. Her name is Kim Harrison, and she's awesome.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, she's very generous with her time, and it was a long time ago now. She pretty much taught me what the business is about and gave me lots of good advice, and she read my first manuscript and gave me notes, and she was amazing. She's still amazing, so yay, Kim!
Yay, Kim! Thanks, Kim! And what is a genre that you will never write in, and what's a genre that you would like to write in next?
I will probably never write a biography. It's hard enough for me to write a paragraph about myself for the back of a book, so I don't think I'll ever write nonfiction, including a biography. I don't think there's anything else that I can rule out. I started out in paranormal, adult, and then paranormal YA. The book that I have coming out with Random House next year is, it's paranormal, but it's also futuristic. It's about teenage exorcist outlaws, and that's it's the same feel, I guess, as some of my other books, but it's not the same genre really at all. And I have another book in the process that is not paranormal at all. It's not really contemporary either. I don't know what to say about that yet, but I'm open to anything as long as it's fiction.
And you said,
Did I miss any part of that question?
No, you did not. Okay, so you said that when we were talking that you have 3 books coming out next year. Is there anything you can say about them, or is it too early?
No, I can talk about those. The first one is Menagerie, which is the first in my upcoming adult series. I used to call it my new adult series, but it's not new adult. It's my new series, which is for adults. First one's called Menagerie, and it comes out spring, April, I think, maybe May. I'm not really sure. I'm looking into it. I've asked. It's the release date has changed twice on that one, so I'm still a little unsure of when that's coming out. But the book is done. We're in second round revisions. Getting a brand new cover. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see it. And then in June 9th, my first book with Random House comes out, and that is called The Stars Never Rise. I just got the cover for it. I haven't shown it off yet. I just posted the back cover the other day. And it will be, yeah, June 9th. And then a few months later, I don't know when. Sorry, time is a clock, noon. December.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. You're not being tested on this.
I think the sequel to Menagerie is going to come out in 2015 as well. I'm not that it was scheduled for 2015. I don't know if that's moved because Menagerie has moved. If it has not, then 2 Menagerie books in 2015.
So which actress would you like to see playing the lead character from Soul Screamers?
Oh goodness. When I was writing it, my answer used to be, what is her name? Julia Roberts' niece.
Emma
Roberts, yeah. But she's outgrown the part now, and I'm not really sure who would still fit. Everybody's gotten so much older. I don't know who's 16 now in TV.
I don't know. You're asking the wrong person.
I guess so. My kids are starting to outgrow kids shows, so I'm not as familiar as I used to be with them. They still watch Sam and Cat, but even those actresses are really too old, so I don't know. I'm up for suggestions.
And we have a Twitter question. This is from Kate, and she asks, what character that you've written would you want to be friends with if they existed in real life, and why?
Oh, not Kaylee. Kaylee's dangerous. All her friends get killed or hurt or something. Maybe Sabine, because it would be really hard to get to be a friend with her, but then once you're in, and she would kill to protect you. So that would be kind of cool. I don't know. My characters live pretty dangerous lives. I think I prefer to be behind the scenes and just write about it.
And then Julie asks, do you identify with any of your characters?
Yes, actually, all of them. I don't know. None of my characters are me, but I don't think it would be possible for me to write a character that did not have any of me in the character, at least a viewpoint character. They've all got a little bit of me. Sabine has my mouth. If I'm not careful or playing nice, I have a fairly sharp tongue at times. Kaylee has my high school insecurities, so that was its own special brand of hell. Remembering that and writing it. Yeah, they all have a little piece of me. The character in Menagerie has her ability is something that I wish that I could actually do, and I don't want to spoil it because you're not supposed to know what she is for like half the book, but what she does is something I would love to be able to do in real life. So when you read it, keep in mind this is what Rachel wanted to do to all of her enemies. Stay on the good side.
So you're one of those authors that will write people in and then kill them.
I have killed off ex-boyfriends in my books.
I know this. You're not going to answer this, but which characters? No? Okay.
I know I'll answer. And it really doesn't have anything to do with the guys. As far as I know, the guys are all alive and well, and I don't think I ever... yeah, no, I do have one ex who went to jail, but I didn't kill him in a book. He's still alive and well. Andrew from the Shifter series is the name of my very first boyfriend. friend, and he's, as far as I know, still alive and well and living somewhere in Tennessee. Who knows? But he died miserably in the Shifter series, and I didn't even put it together that that's where the name came from until maybe 2 books in, when I was killing him. I was like, man, that's gonna look bad. I just killed off my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, quite a long time. Yeah. Ian is the name of a guy I used to go out with, and he was in this book, but he was a good guy in this book. He was not a bad guy. Who else? Several other names have found their way in there, and I didn't mean for them to, so subconscious, I guess.
Do they know that that you were writing about them?
I wasn't actually writing about them. That's probably just where the names came from subconsciously. I have no idea whether they know or not. I'm not in contact with any of them. I'm still sometimes in contact with a guy that I dated off and on for a while, and we're still friends. We've been friends the whole time, before and after. But he's not in any of the books because that would have to be intentional, and it wasn't. I wouldn't kill him off in a book. But I do have an acquaintance from high school whose last name is Sanders, who is apparently convinced that the Shifters series family was named after him, which is not the case. They were actually named for my adult best friend's, her maiden name is Sanders, and that's where that came from. So I always think it's kind of funny that someone from high school years ago thinks that that he was anyway at all involved in that. This is the guy who used to draw on my hair in English class. My hair was really long, and it would fall on his desk, and instead of moving my hair aside, he would color on it with a black permanent marker. I should have cut him off. Yeah.
And then Julie asks, what character death was the hardest to write?
Oh, they all think I'm going to say Ethan. I know they think I'm going to say Ethan, but it was Faith's dad. Greg Sanders was the hardest to write. He was hard to write in every aspect. His lines, his dialogue was hard to write, and killing him was even harder. And Faith's reaction to his death was just really, really, really hard. To get it right and to be true to the devastation she was feeling, yet have her overcome it enough to rise into his position with such a fresh grief, that was the hardest one.
Did you know it would be so hard to write when the time came?
No, honestly, but looking back, it sounds so stupid, but by then I thought I was totally pro. I've written, like 8 or 10 books by then. I've killed characters. I know how to do this, but I was unprepared for how hard that particular one was. That one meant a lot to the series. If he hadn't died, she would not have become Alpha. So he was the family rock. Losing Ethan was interesting, but nobody really depended on Ethan. Well, Jace did, but everyone depended on Greg. So everyone lost Greg, and it threw their whole society into upheaval. It was a personal loss for Faith. It was a challenge. It put Mark in danger because his biggest supporter was now gone. So that one was tougher than I thought all the way around.
And now we're going to be playing a game called Would You Rather. Yay! Okay, so Would You Rather, if you guys don't know, I would ask Rachel a question like, would you rather eat apples or oranges for the rest of your life? And then she'll have to say apples or oranges. And but this is literature edition. So the first one is, would you rather fight next to Hermione or Harry Potter?
Hermione.
Sorry, I totally messed that up. Fight next to Hermione from Harry Potter or Katniss from the Hunger Games?
Oh, now that's interesting. Which world are we in? Are we in the Harry Potter world where there's magic?
Our world.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I don't know. What world? That's a really good question. You're overthinking this. I don't know what world.
If we're in a world and there's no magic, then Hermione would not be as useful. And Katniss would be very useful. But if we're in the world where there's magic and Katniss doesn't know any spells, I gotta go with Hermione. Because she knows everything.
How about a world where Hermione has magic and Katniss is still able to fight with her
So I gotta go with Hermione. If there's magic, you gotta go with Hermione.
Okay. And then the second one, would you rather read a book that is poorly written but has an excellent story, or read one with weak content but is written well?
That is really hard. I feel like the best writers Do both. Um, I have put down books because I was bored, even though the writing was beautiful. But I have also put down books because the writing was very bad, even if the story was entertaining. I don't know. That would come down to, I guess, the individual books. That's hard. Can we just kill people with Hermione again?
Okay, sure. We'll skip this one. And then the third one is, who would you rather have as a child, Harry Potter or Hermione Granger?
Hermione. Harry Potter's parents died. I don't want to be dead.
Good answer. Okay. Okay, that's okay. That's fine. So the next one is, would you rather write novels where all the characters are women or all men?
Women.
Would you rather only write your books in trilogies or standalones?
Trilogies.
Would you rather write a book without using conjunctions or have every sentence of your book begin with one?
Since begin with a conjunction?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Can't figure out how that would work. Mustn't give that a shot. Let's go with no conjunctions.
All right. And then, would you rather write a plot twist you hated or write a character you hated?
Character I hated. I've written lots of characters I hate. They're fun.
Would you rather a super successful movie be made from one of your books or a long-lasting television series?
If the television is Game of Thrones quality, television series. If not, movie. Because the longevity of a television series can really, extend sales and visibility for books a lot longer than a movie can, especially if the movie isn't very successful. But a badly executed TV show, just yuck.
And then the last one is, would you rather critics rip your book apart publicly or never talk about it at all?
Is that an option?
Yes.
I didn't know we could have people not ever talk about it.
These are not like really gonna happen. They're theoretical.
I'd like to click that button. No, I think the quickest way for a book to die is to not be noticed. So yeah, I would rather have them rip it apart in public, which really is just part of the game. That happens anyway, than not be noticed. Visibility is hard to come by. Even if it's negative press, it's still press.
And that concludes our game. Thank you for playing. Yay! And so we're going to go back to some Twitter questions that are being asked. The first one is, describe yourself in 3 words.
Impatient, friendly, the problem isn't that I don't have a third word, it's that I have too many of them. I'm kind of hard to please, but that's more than... What's the one-word way to say hard to please? Finicky?
Sure, that works.
I feel like that makes me sound not as nice as I am. I'm actually a nice person, but, you know.
And then the next Twitter question is from Mary, and she asks, what authors do you turn to when you're stressed?
Like to read to relax?
Yeah.
I've been in a contemporary kind of place for a while. I like Courtney Summers, mostly because the people that she writes are so broken and or mean. It makes me feel better about my life. Holly Black's writing is like the literary equivalent of a really relaxing soak in a hot tub. It's just flawless and very easy to read, yet beautiful at the same time without being labored. So that's relaxing. Janine Frost for just absolute entertainment value. You cannot read a Janine Frost book and not just be like, I need more right now. Let's see. I'm a big Stephen King fan all my life. I don't know that I'd call those relaxing, but I'm a big fan.
And then we're going to be talking about teams right now.
Okay.
So are you team Edward or Jacob from Twilight?
Okay, disclosure, I only read the first Twilight book and there wasn't much Jacob in it. But Edward kind of creeps me out, so Jacob. Also, I like shifters, so Jacob.
Second one, Team Gale or Peeta from Hunger Games.
Peeta all the way.
And so those books were turned into movies. So what's your favorite book turned movie?
Shawshank Redemption was actually a short story, but really, really well done. Although The Green Mile was also really well done. So was Dolores Claiborne. And Misery. I'm a Stephen King fan. Misery was really well done as well.
If you were stranded on a desert island, which character would you want by your side?
From all of literature?
No, from your characters.
Oh, my characters.
Yeah.
Do I have anyone who's really resourceful? I would want Todd because he could get us out of there. We wouldn't have to be stranded for very long.
Which famous person, living or dead, would you like to meet and why?
Living or dead? Gee, I don't know. Who would I want to meet? I have no idea. The scope of that one is so huge I can't quite wrap my mind around it. I still want to meet Stephen King. That would be awesome. I would love to meet J.K. Rowling. A huge fan. Let's see. I would like to meet, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but the guy who plays Tyrion on Game of Thrones. I would like to congratulate him for just like the best performances ever. Not just in Game of Thrones and everything he does. I don't know, so many people.
And then the last Twitter question I'm going to take before we talk about the giveaway is from Liv, and she asks, why did you have the love interest change in Soul Screamers?
Oh, good question. I did not intend to. I don't know if I can answer this without spoilers. So if you don't want to hear the spoilers, just sort of like push the mute button or something. Here's the thing. When Nash got into the trouble that Nash got into, he changed in a way that was not good for Kaylee. And having that relationship permanently fixed, well, it wouldn't have happened because it's really, really hard for an addict never to slip up. And that would have been an unhealthy relationship for Kaylee. And once I realized that she would have been in an unhealthy relationship, it was easy to see who else had always been interested in her sort of the whole time. My goal was not to break them up and put her with someone new, but once I realized that Kaylee and Nash together was no longer healthy, it opened up options for other things, which I won't spoil. But also, I think it's pretty realistic. I do know people who married their high school sweethearts, but I don't know many. I think most girls don't wind up forever with the first guy that they go out with. So I feel like it's sort of a realistic representation of life, in as much as anything in fantasy can be realistic. So yeah.
And then we have, hold on. Sorry, somebody says that they asked a lot of questions, but none were answered. So I guess, I'm sorry about that, but that one came through. So if you have any other questions, I guess tweet Rachel and then she'll maybe answer a few. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Oh, I see my editor. My editor was the one who asked about authors I read when I'm stressed.
Hi, editor. We were actually talking about you. I love your work.
All good.
Yeah, so now we're going to be talking about the giveaway that Rachel is graciously giving. So the first books she's giving away is the Unbound series 1 through 3, and they're adult books. So if you don't like the sexy times, don't read that book. And then wait, let's see. Yep. That's what they look like. I don't know if they can see them. Yep. And the second giveaway is Soul Screamers, Volume 4. Yes, that one. It's very beautiful. I love the colors.
Isn't it pretty?
Yeah, I love it.
I did
So
a great job.
Rachel is giving those two away to two separate winners, and this is international. And what you have to do is this live chat is going to become a YouTube video. And once it becomes a YouTube video, you need to comment on that video. And extra points, extra points is to follow Rachel on Twitter. I will put her Twitter handle in the description when I can. And if you do follow Rachel, then put your username in the comment so I can verify the entry. And this ends July 2nd. So that's it. Thank you so much, Rachel. I had a blast talking to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.